Did a Delphi podcaster send news to Judge Fran C. Gull? Welcome. Today we're doing something a little different. Sorry, we're laughing, we're cracking up because this thing has just been totally insane. We're going to cover what happened yesterday at the Delphi hearing in Allen County, at the Allen County Courthouse. It was a hearing for the defense attorneys and their contempt of court charges, and other stuff went down, and we'll cover it all.
So grab your drinks. It is a school night, so Mary's drinking iced tea out of her Eileen Morehouse.
Eileen and I are having some iced tea together.
I'm going to have a little bit of whiskey because this is just too fun not to, and we'll get right into it here. So on Monday, March 18th, they had the much-awaited hearings. There was actually 3 hearings that were done. There was the first hearing that was presented was for the to drop charges. The second hearing was a contempt hearing, and then the third hearing was the motion to dismiss the case. So during that first initial hearing, basically all it was is they were dropping the kidnapping charges because they added felony murder charges against Richard Allen, and those felony murder charges actually are defined. It's defined within there as kidnapping as part of that. So
right, Indiana doesn't have first, second, and third degree. So in the beginning, they were saying that he was charged for murder that was committed, murder in the commission of the kidnapping. Right. Now it's just plain old murder.
Right, so they just dropped the kidnapping and added the felony murder, so everything's all sort of tied together. Just put it in a neat little bow. It was really
and we don't know why. We have no. I don't know. My speculation is something with the bullet.
No, I think it was just to clean up just to clean up everything.
Okay.
And then so that was pretty basic. But then we got into the contempt hearing. Mary's gonna go into that a little bit.
Please bear with us. We've had very little time to prepare this. All this happened like that, and we've
amazingly it did happen. I honestly didn't think it was going to happen. I thought Gull was going to call it off at some point, but she let it roll.
I was really surprised. Okay, so it was held, like I said, in Allen County Courthouse in Fort Wayne, Indiana, and the contempt hearing was held against Baldwin and Rosie, who are representing Richard Allen in the case, and they were represented by attorney David Hennessy. So I guess the whole thing began with the judge coming out and yelling at the courtroom as soon as she entered to be quiet, and the murder sheet reported that it was kind of like the substitute teacher yelling at you. Substitute teachers don't yell anymore because teachers have no more power, but apparently Judge Gull has power in her own courtroom because she yelled at everybody to be quiet, and they did.
She does.
And they did, and I guess it wasn't even that. I guess it was just basically people chatting. Like, it wasn't that big of a deal, but she freaked out to start the whole thing. Okay. So then it started out with Nick McClelland, my bad. Yes, Nick McClelland started it off by calling Steve Molin. If I mess up any names, I apologize. There's so many players in this that you can't.
They keep coming out of the woodwork too. It's like every time you turn around, there's something else out there. It's crazy.
I am teaching forensics for the first time this school year, and this has been more work than teaching forensics. I've had to do, not that I don't put much into my teaching forensics, but this is just crazy. So he was an investigator for the prosecution, and he was also the former police chief in Delphi, and now he's working with the prosecution. I found that interesting. So Brandon Woodhouse said that Attorney Baldwin sent him an email with protected materials that he meant to send to Rosie. Okay, so Baldwin sent Woodhouse these protected materials that he meant to send to Rosie, and they said that possibly had the names of some of the players and some impressions of those people. So I don't know if that was like suspects or what. There wasn't a lot of clarification on that.
Probably had more information than what the law enforcement has.
This is true. So then Lieutenant Molin then testified that Becky Patty, who is a relative of Libby and Abby, saw photos leaked on Facebook, and then then he said that the murder sheet was called by him, and so that he knew the photos must have come from the defense, and that he was given a great deal of information from the murder sheet. So take that for what you will. The Murder Sheet is a very popular podcast. Well,
it's a podcast.
It's a podcast. Their popularity is disputed, and I feel like they're legit. They're a journalist, and he is. And there was a whole thing about Kevin Greenlee. There was a whole thing that somebody went on somebody's live and said that he wasn't licensed to practice in the state of Indiana, and then they doxed their video, and that was a whole big thing. But yes, he is licensed to practice law in the state of Indiana. Okay, so then I guess Attorney Hennessy went and dissed the Murder Sheet by calling them the Murder Sheet people, which the Murder Sheet was probably not happy about that, but probably
they were sitting in
there, yeah. Yeah, and they were the ones that the leak went to them. Well, the leak went to a bunch of people, but it went to them, yeah, right. So, and as you can imagine, all the other podcasters and YouTubers can't stand, like, the Murder Sheet gets so much hate. So anyway, so they claim. So then they were saying that they claimed that they got information about Keegan Kline from a glitch in the system, but Hennessy was saying that they got it, from the prosecution, and they definitely are. Everybody in this case seems to be skewed pretty much prosecution or defense.
It really is. It's like you are either in one court or the other. I mean, I think we're sort of, give us more information.
We're fence sitters in this. I mean, I don't know how people can, unless somebody's leaking information to them, how can you for sure know he's guilty? There's a weak probable cause affidavit for sure. You know what I mean?
No, it's hugely weak. And I always say, at this point, if I were sitting in a jury and I was presented with the information that's been out there,
right,
and nothing else, there's nothing there that would make me convict this man. So I'm really hopeful that the prosecution has something up their sleeve that will definitively tie him to the crime. But until I can't make a decision one way or the other, so I'm not going to sit here and say he's definitely innocent or he's definitely guilty, because until all the information is out there and everything is presented at trial, we just don't know.
I'm thinking we're probably still not going to know by the end of the
probably
trial.
Not, yeah, probably not. But.
So then Hennessy also claimed that the Murder Sheet obtained the probable cause affidavit from Ron Logan and his search warrant, and Hennessy basically tried to call them out, saying that they got that, they obtained that from the courthouse. So they said no, they got the docs before the gag order, and their source gave them to them legitimately. Not us. I mean, obviously we're late to the party.
Yes.
But like everybody seems to have a source that's leaking stuff to them. Some people seem to be besties with. Delphi. And in a town with only a population of 3,000, apparently every single person in the town is involved in this craziness.
In one way or the other, it's insane.
Okay, so then it was brought up. So the Murder Sheet claims they got this legitimately. Take that for what you think, and take that as you will. So then it was brought up that photos of the girls' clothes were taken by searchers, and then they claimed that was a leak. Okay, but they weren't crime scene photos. They were just searchers walking around.
If that was leaked, okay, so let's say they are calling it a leak, and it was leaked by the searchers. Guess who that falls on? Not the defense, it falls on the prosecution.
Right. Well, and obviously the prosecution is saying that they were not crime scene photos and that there wasn't a leak because the people that were searching took these photos themselves. So they basically happened upon the clothing, took the photos, and it was their right to distribute them. I have no idea how or why, because they're evidence of a crime. That makes no sense either.
I mean, we're not lawyers, obviously, so I don't know the law, but
right.
If it's not illegal, it's definitely shady.
Right. And then Mitch Westerman also. Now, Mitch Westerman is the man who's being accused of conversion and is going to trial in a couple weeks, which that's a whole other thing.
And that'll be interesting.
They said most people, I've watched I've watched a lot of attorneys. There's one attorney in Indiana, I think his last name would be Lopez or something. He's on YouTube, and he basically said that this would never be a trial if it wasn't the Delphi murders.
Well, and only he requested the trial, and that tells me
Right.
that he could have just pled guilty with a slap on the wrist, probably not even jail time, probably maybe a fine and maybe probation.
Right.
But he's demanding to go to trial. He wants to get something on the public record.
He wants
I think.
to, or
At least
law.
that's what I think.
We don't know. Okay. So Mitch Westerman apparently also had screenshots from communication from Baldwin's with discussions of the case, and once again we said the impressions of people. Now it was so they said that at first it was presented that Mitch Westerman was just a friend of Baldwin, but then they backtracked and were basically saying, he was a trusted strategist in the case, so he should have that information. So was he a friend? Was he a strategist? What the hell was he? Now a lot of people said that this guy is like he's like the court strategist whisperer, and people get him for these things, but obviously you can't trust the dude, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I can't even imagine poor, the families of those girls.
No.
They were 13 and 14, they were children. It's disgusting. It should be under child sexual abuse material, in my opinion. Like that's a problem, but that dude took those pictures and sent them to people.
Yeah.
But he's not being charged with theft. He's only being charged with conversion, and they haven't said anything about any like child sexual abuse materials, because I guess probably because
They were deceased.
right, and it was a crime scene photo. It wasn't
Right.
CSA. Okay, so then Hennessy starts calling the podcasters. So he was going to call Angela Sabowski, and he was going to call Rick Snay. Oh, he did call, and Rick Snay. Rick Snay was not able to testify as he was in a fight, which was filmed, and did you see the film I sent you?
Yes, I did. So Rick, if you want some good
He's
entertainment,
Delphi After Dark, by the way.
It's entertaining. I don't know how much you could take it at face value, but some of these people are these Delphi people are just it's good free entertainment. I mean, if you want to be entertained, definitely watch some of their stuff. But apparently, he's been in this feud with this Noe character, whoever this Noe person is.
He's a
for a while.
podcaster too.
So they've been in a feud, and I guess they were outside of the court, and Noe said something, and then Rick responded back, and they were going back and forth, and then the bailiff came out and told him he had to leave, and Rick's like, no, I'm not leaving. I have to testify.
Yep.
I got to testify, and I'm being called, so I got to go. So apparently he got out of that, and he was able to go into the courtroom. But then I guess he was sitting in the back of the courtroom, just being a jerk and annoying people. So he ended up getting kicked out, never being able to testify. And then as he went outside, then him and Noe got into it again, and it almost came to blows. And I mean, it was just ridiculous, but it's funny at the same time.
This thing is just, I can't even. So anyway, then he was going to call Julie Melvin and Skip Jensen, who are also podcasters. So I guess after lunch then, they had legit testimony from legit people. There was a trio of attorneys that were interviewed, and I guess one attorney, I don't have his name because, like I said, we had no time. I could find this out and put it in the comments. So he basically was on this famous case. He pleaded this famous case. So these three attorneys were very well respected according to the murder sheet, and they're a journalist and an attorney, so they claim to.
So they must be true.
Right? Yeah. So anyway. So they basically said, these three attorneys, that what Baldwin and Rosie did was not contemptuous. It happens all the time. They just trusted the wrong person. That was basically what they said. So that was, that was well-respected attorneys, right?
It was irresponsible, maybe. It was negligent, maybe. Was it contemptuous? No. But this is Delphi, so everything has to be way
Over
bigger
the top.
Yes.
Yeah, everything's bigger in Delphi. It should
Yeah.
be Texas. All right, so then Julie Melvin was called. She's a podcaster as well. We're using their names, Julie, Melvin, and Angela are known as both Mothman and Yellow Jacket, which these names crack Pete up, and I know all the names and it freaks him out. But anyway, so she testified that she sees things on Facebook. Okay, well, I mean, good for you. We all see things on Facebook. So then McClellan basically shut that down and said, that's irrelevant. So what? You saw stuff on Facebook. So what? You know. And then the murder sheet claims that they saw Melvin out on the town with Hennessy the night before. So I guess everybody was out on the town probably trying to see each other and see what the hell was going to go down, you know. Okay, so then Skip Jensen testified that he is besties with Fig Solves, Gary Bodette, and Fig Solves is all over this too. And then there was this whole thing where one of the podcasters, I'm not going to name names, but he started a rumor that Fig Solves was Fran Gull's. Yeah, so they were like, you know, call your Aunt Fran, Fig. His name is Gary Bodette. I have no idea what the heck happened there. Like I said, if you know, it's just insane. All right, so then they put Rosie on the stand, which to me, Rosie had nothing to do with the leak. The leak came from Baldwin's office. Right. Did Baldwin ever go on the stand?
He had nothing to do with any of this. He didn't have anything to do with the email, nothing to do with the photos, nothing. So, and yeah, like, poor Rosie. Well, anyway, so he tried to make excuses for Hennessy, basically what he was talking about, and he talked about the press release being in support of Richard Allen. So there was a problem with the press release, because Baldwin and Rosie say they're not trying to try this case in the public eye. Well, duh, yeah, they are. They want the public to know everything so that we're all up, you know, all up the case's butt. Right. And, you know, we all are against Fran Gull, and you know what I mean? Both sides do that.
Exactly. Yeah, this is what I don't understand. Like, it's like, okay, what's good for the goose isn't good for the gander in this case. You know what I mean?
Maybe Slick Nick is Gull's nephew.
Well, and the comments yesterday. If you were in any of the chats and you found some funny comments, that's where I got the nude comment. We'll talk about that later. But anyway, so they said that they held the press release before the gag order. Okay?
And I think that's documented.
I believe that is documented, yeah so. And then Hennessy went on to blame law. Oh, okay. So now wait. Here you go. This is the funniest part. Well, one of the funniest parts, other than everything else going on. So David Hennessy said, if any more leaked photos are out there, it is law enforcement's responsibility because they should be in charge of all the leaked photos. How the hell are they going to do that? This crap is all over the place, right? All right. So. That's kind of what happened. They're leaving it as Fran is giving. Okay, so Fran Gull is going to give Baldwin and Rosie a week to respond and file more paperwork about this. And then she's going to give
Slick Nick until April 1st.
Right, the week after that. And then she's going to give her judgment
within 30 days.
Within 30 days.
So that's going to put, I mean, if you follow the timeline, that's going to put you all the way up to May 1st. The trial starts on May 13th, so you can just deduce from that, okay, Baldwin and Rosie are going to be trying this case. Maybe they'll get a fine. Maybe she'll throw them in jail after the trial's over.
The trial is 52 days away, so we're like in the final countdown here. I mean, May's coming up. Well, if anybody's a teacher and it's March, you feel like May is 3,000 years away, and I feel your pain. I'm sorry. Spring teaching is tough. But yeah, it's really only 52 days away, so it's right there. So that was kind of the craziness that went down. So the reason why I said that a podcaster sent Fran Gull nudes is when Hennessy went and called all these podcasters, he basically had said, okay, so one of the podcasters is named Anthony Greeno. Okay, he's True Crime Investigates. Anthony Greeno from True Crime Investigates. Okay.
Mary loves him.
He hates the murder sheet. He made an awesome short about the murder sheet, making fun of the murder sheet. But anyway, well, I don't know if I love him, but I find him entertaining. So anyway, he filed these things. So Hennessy calls all these podcasters. So all these podcasters get excited. So basically what he said was some of the videos that they made, and in the case of Anthony Greeno, it was a reenactment video of the crime scene. And they're claiming that Anthony Greeno could not have, True Crime Investigates, could not have made that video unless information from, and he believes he's in the Rick Allen is guilty.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
So that the prosecution leaked information to him, and he was able to make this video. So that's basically what they were claiming. They were claiming that either the prosecution leaked information to these podcasters.
Right.
So basically, then what the podcasters did was then they all filed their own information with the court, probably to get their names on record and get their names in the court. And Greeno filed these 2 crime scene photos that were leaked to him. So I guess Judge Gull couldn't file them in the court because of the graphic nature of them. So some people in the chat were making a joke that Anthony Greeno sent Fran Gull nudes, and that was and oh my goodness, I was in algebra class and I was trying to watch the chat and trying to see what was happening yesterday because I was in school yesterday, and I laughed so hard I had to leave algebra class. The students were looking at me. I'm just hysterical laughing, and then it just got even crazier the rest of the day. But that's what went on. So like I said, all of them, they all filed stuff to be on the record, so it must have been a 3-ring circus. So anyway.
It definitely was a 3-ring circus.
If you have any information that we don't have, if we missed anything, like I said, we did the best we could. This is so insane, I can't even follow all this stuff.
All right, and then getting to the final hearing of the day, which was the motion to dismiss, filed by the defense, trying to dismiss the charges against Richard Allen. Basically, what their motion was apparently based basically on 4 people: Brad Holder, Patrick Westfall, Johnny Messer, and Elvis Fields. And I'll get into each one of those in a little bit. But they also, weirdly enough, called Amber Holder to the stand as well. Now, Amber Holder was the wife of Brad Holder, but she really wasn't allowed. They really didn't get into too much with her because Gull sort of shut it down right away, saying that she really can't testify because she wasn't a part of the motion, and she didn't want them to really stray away from the motion. She wasn't in the motion, so they really shouldn't be. She shouldn't be testifying, and everybody says that was probably right, that Gull actually did the right thing there, that if they wanted her to testify, that she should have been part of the motion. But what she was saying was that she was going to testify about the falling out between Brad Holder and Patrick Westfall. Now, apparently Brad Holder and Patrick Westfall were really good friends, but then they had a falling out. And she claimed that the falling out was due to I guess they were doing this ritual near a river. And Westfall wanted to move beyond sacrificing just animals. So we can sort of put 2 and 2 together what that means. And apparently Brad Holder didn't want to progress any further. So that's where that falling out came into. Now, Westfall claims that the falling out was due to Holder going to a Christian church, where, obviously if you're an Odinist, and you can't be both, apparently. So that's what he claims, but Amber Holder says that no, it was due to Patrick Westfall wanting to take this a lot further.
Westfall's my guy. Elvis is yours.
Elvis is mine. No, they're all mine.
They're all your guys? Okay.
Yeah. So they called Todd Click to the stand. Now, Todd Click was one of the 3 investigators that continued on with that Odinism angle. They're the ones that continued following that lead even after it was shut down by Unified Command. And he was the assistant chief of police for the Rushville Police Department. Him, Murphy, and Ferenczi were the 3 that continued the investigation. Right. Ferenczi was shot and killed, so he wasn't a part of it after that. But what was really interesting is that Todd Click pretty much verified everything that was in that Franks memorandum. And it's one thing to see it on paper; it's another thing to have it as testimony under oath in a court of law. Right. So that really lends a lot more credence to it, and which I found very interesting. So he started out talking about Brad Holder. Now, Brad Holder was one of the ones that was interviewed almost immediately after the murders.
Right away.
Now, Brad Holder was the dad of Abby's boyfriend. So that was the connection there. And then Patrick Westfall. So I've covered Brad Holder. We knew what Amber said about him. Patrick Westfall was another big player. He's a huge white supremacist in that area.
Scary looking dude.
Yeah, really super scary.
Like if you saw him, this dude, you'd cross the street.
Yeah, definitely. Now, the one thing that really was interesting that I never heard about before was with this Johnny Messer dude. Okay, now I heard the name before, but this evidence that Click had testified to on Monday was something that I had never heard of. So apparently, Click was talking to Taylor, who was Johnny Messer's ex-wife. I guess actually Taylor had contacted him because she said she had some evidence. So so apparently she put some sort of spyware on Johnny's phone so she could hear what was going on, sort of track him and that kind of thing. So obviously there was a lot of trust.
Smart woman.
A lot of trust going on in that relationship.
Trusting relationship.
But she claims that she heard a kidnapping take place. And Click was actually able to get the phone and verify it. So everything is verified. And I guess what happened was Johnny and one of his friends, so one of his friends got this big settlement. Who knows for what. But he got a settlement, so they had $4,000. So like, okay, we got $4,000. What can we do with $4,000? Let's go buy some meth. That's a great plan. So Johnny had this contact, Rick, and he's like, all right, we're going to go see Rick and get this meth.
Not Rick Allen, by the way.
No, some other dude named Rick. So they went to meet him to do this drug deal, gave him $4,000, and can anybody guess what probably happened then? Rick took off for the $4,000. Surprise, surprise. So, of course, Johnny and his buddy are all pissed off about that.
You just can't.
So they're like, so Johnny's like, well, we're going to go kidnap his friend Wiener. Okay, this is the guy's name, Wiener. So, so they go kidnap Wiener, and they actually kidnap him by gun. He had a 380 caliber gun with no bullets. I guess he didn't have any bullets for it, but he had the gun. Wiener's, and Click did verify all this with Johnny Messer's buddy who was there during this, who was in jail. So Click went to jail to interview him, and he verified it. He verified everything. So they kidnap Wiener, and Wiener's begging for his life, and apparently Wiener's like, all right, I know where we can do this, and he went and got the drugs for them. So all that ends well. All's well that ends well.
Yes, they got their meth.
They got their meth, yeah, which is what is the most important thing there.
My God.
So that was the testimony on that, which again, that was new to me. I had never heard that. And Todd Click, and you can look the motions for the probable cause affidavit for the search warrants are online. So this all actually is verified through court documents that he did get the search warrant. Taylor said she also had found an old phone of Johnny Messer's in a car, so he was able to get that, and he turned everything over to the defense. The defense has all of this. What they're going to do with it, I don't know, but they do have it. And then we're moving into my main suspect, Elvis Fields. Now Elvis,
not a smart man.
Yeah, apparently Elvis is not super smart.
Not smart, period.
No. So, and again, all of these people were questioned right after the murders, within days of the murders happening. These were the main suspects.
Can I just say that this freaking cast of characters, like Rick Allen is the only normal seeming looking one of all of them, correct?
Yes.
So like all these wackos are suspect. I use the term loosely because that's not a good term to use, but Rick Allen, who's like this normal dude who's just hanging out at the CVS,
just doing his thing at the
with
CVS.
a wanted poster of supposedly him hanging up there. I had to say that, sorry. So go ahead
Well,
with your
yeah, well,
explanation.
we were watching Hot in Cleveland the other night, which reminded me of this. So, Hot in Cleveland, whatever, she fixes her friend up with a date, and they're at the bar, and the TV screen comes on, and there's the sketch of the guy she fixed her up with, as a murder suspect. And it's right there, and they see it. I'm like, okay, so this is the same thing as Rick Allen.
Exactly.
The poster's right there for years, and nobody says,
5
that
years.
looks like you.
5.
So, but whatever. So, but that wasn't testified today. That's just us going.
Sorry, I had to put that out there.
But Elvis Fields is the genius that after he had been questioned by law enforcement and was being dropped off at his house by law enforcement, got out of the car, started walking to his house, and then turned around and went back to the officer and said, if I spit on a body, but I have a good explanation for it, will I get in trouble? Click, verify this. So this is Elvis Fields. And another connection between Fields and Messer, and this is something I didn't know either, is that Messer's uncle used to live with Fields.
Oh my God.
So they're all connected somehow. It's just insane. But so that was Click's testimony. The other thing that came out, the other big thing in the motion to dismiss was all of that missing evidence from the beginning of the case.
Right.
There was 70 days of recordings that were deleted, over-recorded, whatever you want to say, but they're lost.
Right after the crimes till April, right? From the 14th to the,
Yeah, from like I think from either the 14th or the 17th until
until the end of April, yeah.
So that's all gone. So that's where the defense was going with that. So that was the motion to dismiss. Goal is going to take this under advisement. We know what that means. She's going to deny the motion to dismiss.
But that's also, I think that's really going to be a big theme at the trial.
Oh, it's going to be huge. And
what-
I was surprised that they actually put all this out there, because this is sort of like tipping her hand a little bit.
And what I had heard on Court TV, it was Court TV. They thoroughly who was the person who who was the person that testified about them about the tape of the interviews of the suspect? Was it Click or was it somebody else?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know.
So they said whoever testified about that, I might have that in my notes.
And they don't even have records of who was interviewed. They don't write things down?
No, they don't have a written record either.
There's no written record. There's no log of people coming in. There's nothing.
So now they did testify, though. I guess they showed whoever was on the stand. I'm sorry that we don't know this information. Basically showed every single thing they did to try to regain the tapes. So I guess it was taped over, and then they bought like all this like software and stuff like that to try to get it back.
Right.
And one of the law enforcement people did testify about all they did to get this information back. Is it true? Did they try? I don't know. Who the hell knows in this case?
Okay, so that was that. I do have a couple fun facts.
Okay.
Would you like to hear some fun facts?
I have a couple fun facts too, so bring it on.
Okay, I have two.
Okay.
All right, so first fun fact. There was a female attorney that joined Slick Nick during the hearing this time around. And so apparently this new attorney has joined Slick Nick's office. And interestingly enough, her name is Stacy Diener. Does anybody recognize that last name? If you don't, I'll give you a little background. Judge Diener was the original judge on the case.
The OG.
Sent Rick Allen to state prison and then stepped down. So he said it was too big, he can't deal with it.
He said he couldn't deal with the public's bloodlust for this case. And then he went on to whine about how many people they had working there and that they couldn't handle it. Which, I mean, if I was Judge Diener, I wouldn't want this thing in my court.
All right, now, do you want to know something else about Stacy Diener?
Sure.
Okay, so before joining Slick Nick's office, do you know where she worked?
For Baldwin, Rosie,
No.
or Hennessy?
Nope.
For
none of
Judge
them.
Gull?
Nope.
For who?
She worked for the attorney that represented Keegan Klein.
Oh, there we go.
I thought you might find that
Okay.
interesting.
Yeah, I still, when everything was going on with Keegan Klein, and I kept telling you this, well, you weren't really into the case yet. When did you come on? I don't know. When did you come on the case?
When I heard about Elvis.
What? Okay, so anyway.
I'm all about Elvis, I'm sorry.
But anyway, whatever. He saw Elvis's picture and about Elvis. But what were we saying? I forget what we were saying.
Keegan Klein, I don't know.
Oh, so yeah, when like everything with Keegan Klein, the timeline of his arrest, and they took him to this hotel and said he could have a romantic night with his girlfriend and like kissed his butt, and then the whole search of the river and his phone and all this crap, and then like then the whole the two sketches because of the Anthony Shots catfishing the girls, and the two different sketches of two different suspects. It was too weird. Like the whole thing with Keegan Klein was too weird. And then they moved Richard Allen to his prison, and then moved him out of Richard Allen's prison.
Something's
up. Yeah.
All right, and one more fun fact. I don't know if it's a fun
That's
fact
very interesting.
or if it's just ironic, but March 18th was National Public Defender's Day. And on that day, we learned that Richard Allen's attorneys are not receiving the funding they need to try this case. They needed and it was reserved for his defense, and they were also on trial defending themselves on contempt charges on National Public Defender's Day.
And Rosie claims he has not been paid.
And there's expert witnesses.
Gull won't pay for expert witnesses. Hennessy wanted 2 days to do the trial and to do the contempt hearing, and Gull said, no, you got one.
I don't know if Hennessy could have done 2.
So, if you're into Delphi, and if you want legit coverage of Delphi, Murder Sheet has the inside track. I'll give them that. Can you listen to them? And that's on you. I suffer through it because they have the inside track. If you want to be highly amused, I would highly recommend Delphi After Dark. That's Rick Snay, who basically never leaves his computer and just goes off all day and all night. And then there's...
Because everybody's picking on his wife.
Then there's Anthony Greeno, True Crime Investigates. He's very entertaining, I have to say.
Yes.
Court TV, it's just that Barbara McDonald, and they get everything way after.
Yeah.
But if you want the real legit, I think the best legit coverage is Bob Motta, Defense Diaries. Pete's not a big, I'm a fan. Pete's not as big of a fan as Bob Motta. That's a whole other story. But anyway, that's who I would recommend. He's a lot more palatable to listen to than the Murder Sheet, don't you think?
Yes.
Yes, okay.
If you put it that way, yes.
And we apologize that this was not in our normal format. It was just kind of us going off the rails because there's just so much craziness out there.
And we do understand the magnitude of this case. I don't want you to think that we're
and I wanted to put that on too. Yeah, I mean it's horrible. It's tragic. We really wish that this would be carried out with some class and some dignity and some grace. Our heart breaks for the families of Abby and Libby. And the problem is with all this junk going on. It's entertaining to watch, but at the same time, that's not what it's about, And
I'm just afraid that because of all this chaos and distractions and all this other crap that's going on in this case, that they're not going to get the justice. Because I just don't, even if the prosecution puts on a flawless case, just all of the missteps up to this point, even before we got to the trial, I just don't know how, if he is convicted, I don't know how this isn't going as a mistrial.
And by all accounts, these were two good, all-American, sweet, Libby, they said, was extremely smart. It's just a shame. It shouldn't, and even to Rick Allen, if he's not the guy, it sucks for him and his family too.
Yeah.
Like we've got a lot, then he might just be another victim
in this case. And if he's not the guy, then they're definitely not getting the justice because they've wasted all this time On nothing.
And what we did hear is that the families talked to both the defense and both the prosecution. Like, you know, they are, you know, but I hear some of these podcasters are like dragging them through the mud. I won't mention any names, but, you know, I've heard that. It's just not right. It
No.
should be about these girls and all this other crap. I mean, people need to take their egos, shove them where the sun don't shine, and have a real trial here, in my opinion. But that's not going to happen. This
No,
is
it's
just going to
definitely not
continue
gonna
to be
happen. There's going to be a circus.
a poop emoji show, as
Yes.
I would say. Yeah. So we're making light of the ridiculousness of the procedure. We're not the crime.
Right.
I mean, the crime is just horrific. I can't even imagine. And to get those crime scene photos, I can't.
No.
I mean, and then the poor podcasters had to like print them out because they need them as like. I just can't even imagine. I think if something came like that in my inbox, I just want to delete it immediately.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it sucks that they had to like the murder sheet had to contact people. They had to, you know, print it out and, you know, have documentation of it. I mean, I know that he's a lawyer and he, you know, he's probably used to that kind of thing, but still by the same token,
Right.
you know. So, and they had back in the summer, remember I said she wasn't releasing documents, and Kevin Greenlee from the murder sheet, he petitioned the court. Remember I said he petitioned the court in the summertime, and then Judge Gold released more documents about
Mhm.
it. So they're knee deep in it.
Right.
So that's Delphi.
For today.
If you're for now, if you're following, I plan on being at
And
the
in the
trial.
last video, I know we said we were going to do more Delphi until the trial, but this was just too much to pass
It was
up.
it was just too crazy. We had to cover it. Plus, we spend so many hours of our lives on this case. So
Yeah.
yeah, we act like we're legit, but we're not really. We're just really interested in it. So
Yeah.
So anyway, that is Delphi. That's what's going on now. So, you know, countdown to the trial, I guess,
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
Who the heck knows? It'll be interesting to see what happens with this. And she also got Hennessy petitioned for another day for the contempt hearing, and she denied that.
Of course.
So it's done.
Yeah.
So
That's what she does best.
Yeah. So
Deny, deny, deny.
deny. That should be your middle name. Francie
Yes.
Deny Gull, right? So anyway, we are True Crime and Wine Couple. Stick with us. We're
Crystal Light iced tea and Crown Royal.
Stick with us. We plan on doing some fun stuff like a book. We're going to do a book club. You can be in our book club. If you want to start our book club, if you want to read Catherine Ramsland's book that she wrote for BTK, that'll be our book club that we're starting. She's got another book club. She's got another book coming out in the middle of April. We're going to be covering that. That's on Dean Coral, the Candyman. More Nicole Kessinger. And if you want us to cover something, if you want us to talk about something, put it in the comments. You know,
Definitely, yeah.
we'll try to. Your wish is our command.
Yes, absolutely. Till next time.